Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and just got some of these Night Owl cameras, surveillance cameras. So I'm going to do an install on it, and then there'll be another video probably for the review portion once they're done. But I went ahead and just got their main system here that has two cameras, 1080p. It has a total of 4 available channels and a terabyte hard drive. And then I have one of their other cameras here for indoor use, and then just one other camera for outdoor, which is just like the other two that come in this kit. What I was looking for on these is I've installed some power outlets on the eaves of the house, and so I was looking for a system that you could just plug right in and not have to run wires and that kind of thing. So I'm just going to go through and show you what's involved with the kit and how to install it. So here's what's inside the main big box. Starting on the left here, you have the two cameras. You have their two antennae. And then you have the mounting hardware. It's really nice when there's not a lot of stuff in the kits, then it shows how simple it is. Then you have the hard drive guy here with its two little antennae. A power outlet, a little mouse, since you're going to be hooking this up to some form of a TV, so it also has a HDMI cord for that. And then this looks like it's just for the router, some kind of dial-up internet perhaps. Then a nice magnetic antenna here. I assume it also goes into this hard drive. And then just the two power connections that go into the back of each of these cameras. So it's pretty simple. Okay, and as for the single kit that I bought, it's pretty much the same thing. A lot nicer package though. That's pretty legit. And then here's this other one for the indoor use single one, but once again, very simple. You just have an antenna and a way to plug it in and a way to mount it. Okay, one thing to note about how this system works, it does have a way to plug this into your Wi-Fi so that you can view this remotely as you pull it up on your phone and all that. However, the system itself will communicate from the camera to the DVR that records it all on its own version of a Wi-Fi. But if you want to access it from your phone anywhere that you are, then you will need to plug this into a router. Okay, so I plugged everything in. I don't have this mounted to the house, obviously, not quite yet. And to do that, it's just 3 screws that you'll screw into it. But all I had to do was screw in the antenna and then plug in the connector there. There's a reset switch here that you'll hold down. And as you hold it down for a few seconds, it'll say, "Be patient," and then let you know that it's searching for the camera. So I went ahead and hooked one up here and a few in the other rooms. And in here, this is where we have the actual command center. It immediately found the 2 cameras that come with the kit. Now the system does come with one of these. It's kind of an extension for the antenna. So this camera, for example, it's a little bit farther away from the router. So I have unscrewed its normal antenna and then screwed in this new one that has a 9-foot extension cable. So this you can run somewhere else in order to get a little bit more range out of this one. So as you can see, we can easily just start our setup process here. Okay, so it's recommending that we do these locally, as we already have done. We've just set them up temporarily to make sure that they all work. Okay, then this next screen is going to show us everything else. Okay, so we can go ahead and test it. I will need to also plug the, for that part, I'm going to have to try that one again. I'm going to have to plug in the actual cable into my router. Okay, so I went ahead and plugged in that cable for the Wi-Fi, and it already found it, so we're good there. Okay, it looks like there's already an upgrade for the firmware that's available. That'll take a second to download, it looks like. The other two, I don't know if it's not looking for them yet on the setup or if they're out of range, so I'll figure that out. For the TV, it was very simple. HDMI cable plugged from the TV into the router. Then we had just had to screw in the antennas that go directly into the back, and then a USB connection for the mouse. Okay, so that really didn't take too long to update the system, just a minute or two. I'm going to go ahead and hit next on this. Okay, so the system did kind of a reboot on its own after an update, and everything went black, and then it just kind of started coming back online. The camera started coming back up, and we're going to figure out why the other two cameras are not getting signal yet, and we'll figure that out. This screen right here is going to ask you to do a password, so we're going to go ahead and put our passwords in here and a recovery email address. Okay, so as you're typing for the password, as soon as you click on here, the little keyboard comes up that you can type it in. So then when you're all done with that and putting your email in there, go ahead and press next. And it says created new password successfully. So you can press OK on that. Okay, now it's going to ask you to set up the time. So we can go ahead and go through that. Okay, then I just put in the time. What it has is a negative number, like -7 hours. So you just have to mess with that until it hits your proper time zone. Now it has a prompt to go and put this on your phone. So if you have Google Play or if you have an Apple, then go ahead and download this app to your phone or tablet. Okay, and then just more information on setting it up on your phone. Just basically says open the app and search for it, create an account. Then it has one more warning about making sure your cameras are set up exactly how you want them on their angle and where you want before you hit final confirm. Okay, then you're going to go through by camera and you're going to choose the sensitivity. If you want it motion activated, you're going to choose and click if you want 24/7 motion or 24/7 continuous. This one does have a full terabyte of memory, so we'll see how that goes. So if you have a camera that's not coming up, I have 4 plugged in. I'm getting the 2 that were close. So all you have to do is reset the camera and make sure you get it in range, and then automatically here it'll come up once it finds it. So I'll show you what I did to reset it. Just as a test, I put that 9-foot antenna way over there where it won't have a problem. I went over here and I just pushed this button down. Hold it for about 5 seconds.
Please be patient. Camera is resetting.
Okay, and so that's how it will reset. So then you'll just have to wait for it to come up here. So just to show you what the view looks like, here's what the camera shows. It's good quality. 1080p is good, and here's where the camera is, just as a comparison. Okay, so now it automatically finds the first 2 cameras. If you're adding more cameras, like I did, you just went out and bought 2 more, right click and click the home button here. You're going to go to camera up here in the top left. You're going to go add camera on that tab. Then you have to come over and press wireless add. So once you press that, go and reset the cameras, and that way they'll send out a signal that's looking for it. So once they find it, it'll automatically come up. Now you're going to come to your camera and put it in pairing mode. This is for the add-on camera. Hold this down for about 5 seconds.
Please be patient. Camera is resetting.
And I just put the optional 9-foot antenna on this. Hey, not you, come on. And then for this little guy, you take the little supplied needle type thing and stick it in here. Hold that down.
Please be patient. Camera is resetting.
Okay. Go ahead. Really nice. This has a magnet on it. So assembly is pretty easy. You have the camera itself. You have a small antenna that can go onto it. And you also, if included, you can get this 9-foot extension with another antenna in case this camera's getting far out of range. So, and this one's going to go outside on a corner of my house, so I'm going to go ahead and use this, and then I'm going to put this antenna, which has a magnet on the bottom, makes it real nice. I'm going to get that closer to the actual Wi-Fi receiver. And then you have your power cord, and it just plugs in right here, and you just plug this into an outlet, and you're set. As far as hardware goes, it just has 3 screws and these expanders, so you can drill a hole, put the expander in the hole, then put the screw up through here, and that'll mount it to wherever you need to mount it. Next, you're going to want to find out where you want to mount the camera. Hopefully it's next to a power outlet. And then take a pencil and just draw up in to where these screws are going to go. I have my pencil here. I'm just going to hold it here and draw 3 little marks of where I'm going to want that to go. Next, I drilled a 3/16 inch hole where I want to mount, and that was just a little too small, so then I kind of moved it around just to make it a little bit bigger. Now the idea is that this will go up in there, and then when you put the screw in, it will expand and hold this in place. I'm not really a big fan of these though, so I think I'm actually just going to take some of these other bigger screws that I have and use them instead, and just drill straight in. Okay, that's much better, just using some bigger aftermarket screws, and you just want to make sure that that wire is going through the little hole in the side. Now you can tighten all this up and spin your camera exactly to where you want it to go. And then just plug it in. Okay, so I got this all hooked up. In fact, I used the external antenna and it didn't work as well, so I just put the regular one back on. Probably because it was trying to go through roof tiles where I had the other one. But I just bunched up the rest of the cords. I'll find a cleaner look for that later. But it was pretty simple. Just plug it in and then and pair it, and it starts looking for it, and found it just fine. Hey everyone, just want to give you a little review on this Night Owl security system that I bought. I'm actually very happy with it and how it's turned out. This is wireless, and that's what I was looking for, something that would just plug right in, something that had a hard drive. This has a full terabyte worth of hard drive on it, and something that I could remotely view on my phone. Also, I was looking for something that didn't have a monthly subscription. So these turned out really good. It's 1080p. It's pretty high definition. I really like the app that comes with it. But basically, the live streaming on it works out pretty good. You can have some pretty good quality on it. You can get alerts every time something happens, and it records that as well. Quality's pretty good for streaming it, and the quality's even a little bit better on the actual monitor where you'd have it plugged into your house. Some of the options I enjoy is there's an audio feature, and so you can actually listen to what's going on, and you can hold and talk on it, and that really is a nice feature, because that can scare some people away if you needed to do it that way, or you could tell people to get off your yard. Something like that. As far as playing around with the app for a while, it's been working really well. The playback feature is really nice. Down here, it'll bring up a calendar and show you, how long you've had it. And basically, you can click on any of these icons, and it'll show you the videos from that camera view. Anytime something's happened, you can go back and watch it. And it shows it basically for all the cameras. For this one, I probably had my wife leaving for work, and so you can play that little scene and see what had happened. So it's I think it's a pretty nice setup. I've had alerts go off, and you can set the sensitivity on it of how much you want it to show and everything like that, which is really nice. And overall, I really like the app that comes with it. I think it's a very good product for the money, and for being wireless, it comes up okay. There's a little bit of a delay on it, depending on how good your service is, but there isn't really too much of a delay as far as it being recorded. I know they also offer a different version that has lines that are hardwired if you wanted that. The night vision on it, as you can see, is pretty good. This is in the garage right now where it's dark. Pretty decent night vision. So for the most part, it gets really good signal for being wireless. It does come with a 9-foot extension antenna that it's not as thick as the one that comes on it, and that one actually did not work as well, even when I extended it and tried to get it closer to the router. It worked out best if I was basically just putting the regular antenna on it, and then I had no problem with signal. What I also like about these cameras is that you can unplug them, literally walk across a room, plug them in somewhere else, and it will automatically find that camera again. And so you have a different place of putting the cameras, wherever you want. And so that can be good. There's no wiring that you have to run it through the attic and drill holes and all that. Installation, I was not very happy with. I didn't like, well, as far as the hardware that they give you, it's 3 chintzy little screws, and I just didn't like it at all. I ended up just getting big long screws and drilled it straight into the house, because the ones they give you are these tiny little screws. You put the little expander in, and then the screw's supposed to expand that expander. And the problem with that is if you're, like in my case, you're drilling into stucco, it's just going to crumble. So you really need some long screws. So if you're going to get some of these to install, forget about all the garbage they give you. Just get 3 nice long screws and go straight up into the actual wood of your house. So the playback feature is pretty cool. Here I am, taking the dog for a walk. So you can click on it, and it'll show you a video of what was happening. And it's a little bit better on the actual monitor, but anyway, you can basically look at everything that you were doing here. Eat that Milky Way like a pro. That was a good little candy bar. But anyway, that was just an example there. So anyway, I've really been enjoying it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Right now the cameras are probably about 50 feet to 100 feet away from the actual DVR, and everything seems to be working really well.